All right. Well, welcome, Jason Groth, to another edition of ACLU on the Hill. We're in a new location for this episode. Can you tell us where we are and why we're here?
Yeah, this is essentially like an ACLU Cribs State House edition. So welcome to the House building, room 20. And this is one of the committee hearing rooms you're going to find all around the Capitol complex. This is where the House Judiciary Committee meets.
And you were here just a couple days ago testifying in favor of a bill, HB 146, driver's license suspension amendments, Representative Corey Malloy. Tell us what was this room like when you were here, and we'll talk a little bit more about it in a bit, but set the stage.
Yeah, the space looks a lot different when we actually have a committee here that's in session. And so right behind you where all those chairs are, we have the general public sits, also other lobbyists, legislators, lawyers, all fill up this room, and so that is a bit more packed. Then up behind me, up on the dais in this little horseshoe, is where all the legislators sit that are on that House committee. So representatives sit up there, and then they listen to testimony and they ask questions. And then over here in this spot is where
Tell us what was going on right here.
Yeah, and so here is where you're going to see your the sponsor of a piece of legislation, a bill.
Usually sitting right here.
Yep, usually sitting on the left, and they'll speak to their bill, why the House should pass it, and then a lot of times they'll have an expert sitting next to them just to the right, and that expert is there to give more context and provide more expert testimony on what the bill is about and what it will do in practical effects.
Now, were you an expert?
I would like to think I am.
Okay.
But in this bill,
we'll let you believe that.
So after that testimony is over, then the chair of the committee will ask everybody in the audience, hey, who wants to testify on this bill? And then usually people raise their hands, and then based on the number of people that raise their hands, they'll calculate how much time you're given to testify, either in support or not in support of the bill. And so usually that'll be 2 minutes or 1 minute, depending on the number of people.
Now, when you came up here to testify in favor of HB 146, what did you say? Why is this bill important?
So one of the main things we can think about with this bill is that it's a really good piece of common sense legislation. What currently happens is that if you miss a court date or if you don't pay a fine in a criminal case, then the driver's license division can take away your license and suspend it. And the point of that is to get somebody to actually pay the fine or to start showing up to court. But when you think about it, it doesn't make a lot of sense, because if you don't have a driver's license, it's harder to get to court. And if you're trying to pay a fine, it's a lot harder to get to work, especially in the rural parts of Utah where there's not a lot of public transit. And the main point that we really brought up compared to other people that testified in favor of this bill is that this is not a public safety issue. That when you have your license revoked or suspended for missing court or not paying a fine, it has nothing to do with you being a good driver or a safety risk on the roads.
Gotcha. So normally you think about losing your driver's license when you get into many accidents, you get a DUI, something like that. But here people were losing their licenses for simply not being able to afford fines or show up for court. So common sense is a great way to put it. What happened during this hearing? Did your testimony convince the members of the committee to vote in favor of the bill?
I'd like to think so, but I think collectively...
Again, we'll let you think that.
So collectively, from the testimony from both Representative Malloy, Molly Davis from Libertas, and everybody else, the bill passed unanimously.
Gotcha.
And so now it's on its way to the House floor. That's where all the House of Representatives will vote on it. If it passes there, then it gets kicked over to the Senate. The Senate will have its own committee, very similar to this, similar setup for testimony, and then if it passes there, it goes to the Senate floor. Passes there, then it goes to the governor to be signed into legislation. How
a bill becomes a law. I remember an old cartoon about that. All right. Well, thank you for walking us through not only what happens in a committee hearing room like this one, but also about the important criminal justice improvements that HB 146 could make in letting people keep their driver's licenses as they move through the system. So thanks for this explanation, Jason Groth. We'll have to see what happens with HB 146 over the next week and a half.
Of course, we'll chat about it soon.
Okay, thank you. Third time's the charm, right?
Let's do it.